Right. Thank you, Shipra, for the introduction, and thanks to everyone for joining in. I hope you all can hear me. If you can hear me, a show of thumbs is. Am I audible to all?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks very much. We have a huge gathering, 160 plus people. We are also doing live stream of this on YouTube. So at a future date, if you want to see this, or if you want to refer any colleagues, they can go there and look at this. But we have something very interesting coming on, right? I will share my screen. I just want to check if my colleague Vandana is around.
Hi, Shivesh. I'm here. Can you please make me a co-host so that I can let others join? So that I can share the YouTube link also. Yeah, thanks. I'm here.
Yeah, thanks, Vandana. Right. For a while, friends, what I will do is we will have some inputs right now. We'll have your inputs right now. I'm going to be sharing my screen and also to be looking at you. Yes. I have one hand raised, Radhika. If you have any question, Radhika A. Okay, so friends, what I'm going to do is I'll request you to be on mute. We have this session planned in 2 or 3 stages, right? And I'm going to be leading the first stage, and then I will also involve my other colleagues as we move forward. Now, this is a lovely extract from a poem from Jean Evelyn. And this says that no wind to fill your sails, you'd say, doesn't mean your ship is sinking. It just means that you're sitting still, the perfect time to self-reflect. So, friends, basically, this session on social and emotional learning is a deep dive into self-reflection, and then through that self-reflection process, we will figure out what it means and how we can take this to our classrooms. So that's it. I have few hands raised, and I'm certainly going to come to you. Basically, my next slide is when we hear this word social and emotional learning, what words come to your mind? If you can write in the chat box, or if you can raise your hand, then I can come to you for your quick bite from you. Social and emotional learning, what does it mean to you? What words come to your mind? I have Sudha Parmeshwaran's hand raised. Sudha, ma'am.
Sir, could you increase your volume a little? It's a little.
Am I audible to all, or?
It's a little less. You're audible, but it's not loud enough, I feel.
Got it. Okay. Okay. Let me try without my headphone and see how does it work. Okay, friends, can you hear me better this time?
No, sir. I don't think it made a difference to me. It did.
Anyone else? You have issues listening? Okay, I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Okay. It's okay, sir. No problem.
Got it. Right. So just to get started, and I'm trying to increase my voice, just to get started, if what words come to your head when we come across this term social and emotional? Anyone who wants to speak? Shalini, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It means, according to me, we are learning art of living.
Fantastic. Learning the art of living. Well said. Very apt. Thank you for that. Anyone else who wants to add something? Social and emotional learning.
Connecting to the people, sir.
Sorry?
Connecting to the people.
Connecting with the people. Connecting with the people. Fantastic. If you can just also tell your name, then it's easier for me to know you.
Rekha, sir. Rekha.
And which school, Greta?
Kisara, sir. Pallavi International School.
Okay, Pallavi International Kisara. Right. So I have one more question, but people who are not speaking, can I request them to keep their mics on mute? Or what I'm going to do is, I hope you won't mind, I'm putting everyone on mute all, and if you raise your hand, then I'll unmute, give the unmute button to you. Right. So I'm muting all for a while. I hope that's okay. Okay, everyone? That's acceptable? Yeah, thank you. So I have put everyone on mute, and if you have, whenever you want to say or add to the participation of the proceedings, then please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. Right. So basically, we are discussing social and emotional learning, and while we are discussing, I have a simple question for you, and that question is, how do you connect with your students in class? How do you connect? Because Shalini Srivastav gave a wonderful description. Social and emotional learning is basically the art of living. So how do you practice this art in your classroom? Anyone who wants to speak, raise your hand. Let's make it participative and learn from each other. If you want to contribute, please raise your hand. And then I'm also going to talk about the tool. A lot of you have taken the test on that tool, so I'll also walk you through. Give space to everybody. So Jayashree PV is saying that in her classroom, she is able to give space to the students, right? Okay, Sudha Parmeshwaran, you want to say something? Please unmute.
Yes, sir. So I start with a smile. So
Fantastic.
that connects most of the students. And if you really can address them, like if there was something that we were discussing with some student the previous day, if you can bring back that, then you really connect well with them.
Fantastic, right? So what Sudha right now did was, she said, I practice, I start my day with a smile. And when she said smile, a lot of people on the camera, I saw everyone smile. So that's the power of smile, and that's the power it does to the classroom. So thank you very much for the wonderful example, Sudha. Anyone else who wants to add any further thing? Right, I'm in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of tips here. Connect with children. I ask a short question. I use icebreaker, free talk time in the beginning, standing and sitting exercise, being compassionate. Right, so we are able to see a lot of interesting thoughts which are presented in the chat box. Soumya Lata is saying clapping, and clapping sort of energizes everyone. And there's a huge power of clapping. It makes the whole class one. Shalini, you would want to add anything? Shalini Srivastav? You can unmute. Okay, so I move forward. I'm getting some interesting. Ragini Pillai is saying that through conversation, give time for everyone to speak. Now, friends, I have basically a very simple slide, and this slide is basically about, you can think of any successful people, and there are many things which, you would find which is common to successful people. Few of the things that we, in our research, we have found out, right, that they are able to dream big. Great leaders are, they dream big. They get the larger picture and they're able to communicate that larger picture to everyone. Like Achhe Din Aane Wale Hain, right? A big picture, nice dream, and you are able to communicate, connect with a larger audience, right? They also take decisions. They have clarity of visions. They take risks, But most importantly, that's the last sentence of this slide, they inspire people to act. Right? Now, we as teachers, we as educators, we also want our classroom and our students to be successful. And one of the key metrics of success in real life is to inspire people to act, right? So, and that's not easy, right? How do we sort of say something and then everyone else does something? And there's a lot of gap between the act of saying and then inspiring everyone to act according to what you have said. You as educators and in real life should all realize that every time we give direction, we direct, and that direction is not understood by all, or if it is understood, then not everyone acts according to our wishes. Now, great leaders are able to inspire people into action. Right? So that's one of the things that I just wanted to be flagged. Now, a lot of research has happened around this, and a lot of research has happened in the whole field of neuroscience. And one of the things which has come to the knowledge of everyone is that the right brain of successful people is more developed. Right? And there's a whole lot of literature because I've now used the word right brain, there's a whole lot of literature about left brain and right brain, right? So left brain and right brain. And what they say is that the right brain of the successful people is more developed than others. Now, research has also found stronger connection between the cognitive and emotional functions of the brain. So in our brain, there's a cognitive and emotional function, and there's a link. Sometimes when we are emotionally down, the cognition also goes down. Have you realized this? Yes, no? If we say yes, then please show me thumbs so that we are communicating with each other. I have done the most, obnoxious thing of putting everyone on mute for a while, but it was for the common benefit of everyone. And we still need to engage and communicate with each other. So let's build on what we are saying, right? Successful people have better right brain. Now, I have one very graphical, visually rich picture for everyone. Now, if you look at this picture is basically saying that in every human being, there is a left side of the brain and there's a right side of the brain. There's a left side of the brain and there's a right side of the brain. Now, if you look at the left side of the brain, there are compartments, there are people who are working in nice cubicle and chubby holes. Just give me a sec. Let me put a marker. So there are people who are working here. And then you have right side of the brain, which is more fertile. There's a lot of greenery. There are people flying kite. There are trees, people walking. Someone is playing guitar. Someone is using a telescope. Someone is doing something. There are people who are also walking between the right and the left. But if you look at the right side, what this imagery is telling us that right side of the brain is far more relaxing. Do you think it is far more relaxing? If you think it is far more relaxing, a show of thumbs. Right side is far more quiet, calm, at peace, relaxing, enjoying. And the left side is working very hard, more like a computer, chat GPT, and that's the world of the left side. And right side is having fun. People are sleeping, people are on the garden, enjoying, smelling, all that sort of stuff. Now, we as human beings, we have both these sides of the brain. We have both these sides of the brain. And in the formal education system, right? I'm sure you would have watched this fantastic video by Sir Ken Robinson, right? And that video is about how schools skill creativity, right? So Sir Ken Robinson has gone into a lot of depth on how schools skill creativity. But look at this. It was God's gift that we have both right brain and the left brain. One brain is more fertile, the other brain is more like a computer doing number crunching, logical stuff, etc., etc. Right? And this is so look at my screen, and what I have done is we really want to, through our education, recognize that there is a right side and there's a left side, and both need to exist in harmony. Right? So left side is all about facts, logic, word, language, detail orientation, task, knowing, what they call inside the box thinking, linear thinking. Agar aisa kaha, to aisa karo. I have told you, do this, etc., etc. Whereas right side is all about intuition, emotions, symbols. It's more visual part of the brain, right? It's about big picture, right? So that's the real thing, right? And as human beings, we were gifted with both sides of the brain. God really wanted us to combine logic with creativity. And right side of the brain is all about positivity, hope, love, affection, connection, emotions. And when the right side is in harmony, we have better focus, right? People with better right brain, they are able to effectively ask the question why. Logical brain likes to solve problems. But logical brain does not know what problem to solve. Right? Whereas the right brain, which is the creative brain, it will keep on telling, okay, let's try and solve this problem. It will keep on finding problems after problem. And logical will keep on solving problems after problem. So one finds problem, other solves it. One finds problem, other solves problem. And that's a harmony which keeps on existing all in one brain. Now, unfortunately and traditionally, the industrial education system, which wanted to build industrial workers, it focused mostly on the left side of the brain. Right? Because we were preparing school students to come out of school and then to work in industries. And we had this industrial system of work and all that, and that kept on focusing and developing. And this is only about 200 years old, right? For the last 200 years old, we have, changed the wiring or tried to change the wiring of the brain. We were not born with, no one is even born today with larger left and a smaller right. All of us will have nearly the same composition, right? Just a bit here and there. But because we keep on training only one side, left side, train only the left part of it, and forget about right side, this balance gets distorted. So that's the focus, and that's what I'm going to talk about. In the interest of time, and if you're not enjoying this, I will come to the main topic, which is SEL, but I really wanted to touch upon this important thing. Right? So all higher order social psychological phenomena, which is self-control at individual level and empathy, altruism, these are all, a lot of it is a right brain thing. Right? And that's something that I want to talk about. There's a lot of literature around how it affects the cognitive, affective, and overall human development process, right? And how, if we just shift the focus just a bit to the right side, how it really starts affecting the development of a human being, right? So there's a lot of research which has happened on something which is called the prefrontal cortex, right? Which is also called the executive center of the brain. And this is the thinking part of the brain, which helps us know what has to be done and then regulate and do things, right? So basically, we really have to restore the balance, right? Now, research has gone into, so if you look at the CT scan of people, if there's a damage in the brain of this. If one part of the brain has been more used, you'll find the scans of abused brain completely different. But the good thing is, research after research in the last 20 years, what it has been found is with a lot of love and affection and emotion, you can actually develop, you can actually fill all these dark spots, which is the damaged area of the brain, right? And that's what SEL is all about. Now, why SEL at school? Because different parts of the brain develop at different ages. So if you look at, this is the sweet spot, right? At the age of 6, sensory motor cortex that's the time when the sensory motor cortex develops the most. That's the time when motor skills and everything we want in our students, children to develop more. So if you introduce students to more games at that age, at the age of 4 to 6, 7, 8, they will all learn things much faster, right? Similarly, the temporal association cortex, the sweet spot is about 8-10 years, and the frontal cortex, where there's all this, a lot of emotional stuff goes on, it keeps on developing in this time space, right? So at about 12 to 15 years, that's the time when it develops quite a lot. And it's not that it stops developing, it grows on to develop, and it sort of plateaus at about the age of 24. So that's what brain science tells us. And that's why SEL as a concept, as a thought, it was, it gained importance. And there were a number of people who sort of advocated SEL. And basically, it's the process of acquiring skills, knowledge, competencies, attitudes to manage emotion, to develop care and concern for others, to establish positive relationship, to make responsible decisions, and to handle challenging situations. Now, if you really think, these are all about real life. And then the hard question that we have to really ask is, how much of it is being systematically taught in the class? If this is all about real life, then how much of it is systematically being taught in classroom? So that's the opening about SEL. If anyone wants to make any points, please raise your hand. I will unmute you, and I'm happy to take few comments from you. And from here, I will build into the whole research and how it can be applied in classroom, how SEL can be applied in classroom. But any comments, teachers, educators, friends, if you want to make, please raise the virtual hand, or let me unmute everyone for a while. Let me unmute. Okay, so friends, all of you have the power to unmute yourself and speak. Anyone who wants to speak can speak about SEL, social and emotional learning. Okay, I'll wait for you. Now, just to bring you or to bring more facts around this. So World Economic Forum released this document about 4 or 5 years back called 21st Century Skills. A lot of people talk about 21st century skills, and there could be some variation in the model of 21st century skill that a lot of people talk about. So World Economic Forum gave 3 fundamental building blocks of 21st century skill. One is called foundational literacy, second is called competency, and third is the character qualities. Now, they also wrote that this whole piece, all the competency and all the character quality together, they encompass and they can be called as social and emotional learning. So if you look at the building block of social and emotional learning, it involves critical thinking, problem solving, decision making, creativity, communication, collaboration. So we work with people, collaboration is important, having curiosity, initiative taking, persistence, adaptability. When things are changing, I have to change, leadership, social and cultural awareness. So they overall gave 10 building blocks of this whole word called social and emotional learning. A lot of literature is there. There's another research which created EMC square framework of social emotional learning. And it says that social emotional learning starts with E stands for empathy, M stands for mindfulness, and one C stands for compassion, and the other C stands for critical inquiry. So if we really want to build social and emotional learning in our students, then we really need to build empathy, we really need to build mindfulness, we really need to build compassion, and we really need to build critical thinking as a core body of knowledge, right? In the US, there was a big research led by Aspen Institute and National Commission for Social, Emotional, and Academic Development. That was formed, and they created something called SEAD skills, SEAD skills, which is social, emotional, and academic skills, social, emotional, and academic development skills and competencies. And they said that there are basically three verticals in which we can club all this. So first is the cognitive skill, the second is social and interpersonal, and the third is emotional. And then there's a lot of keywords which is there around that. And I'm moving forward because we are going to touch upon all these things. Now, as Shalini put it up, right? And in my opinion, SEL is all about emotional stuff. It's a mental thing. It's a journey of mind to heart. It's not the journey of heart to mind. It's the journey of mind to heart. And why I'm saying mind to heart? Because all through the school education, mostly we keep on training mind, the left side of the brain. And we really have to rewire and make the left side of the brain talk to the right side of the brain. So both parts of the brain need to be engaging with each other, talking to each other. Only then we are developing a whole human being, right? So any points, if anyone want to make, you can raise your hand and we can talk about it. Now, friends, we shared with you this social and emotional learning assessment tool. There were about 110 questions there, simple questions, strongly agree to strongly disagree, and then there were frequency questions, never to always, right? So those were the questions. Because a lot of teachers, they kept on filling this, that's why we said that we will share your personal SEL map to you by 26th April. Right, so that report I'm going to share, and our team will share on 26th by 26th. But we have a few more things to talk about. What I'm going to do is I will take a quick 3-4 minute break. Meanwhile, I will ask my colleague, Shipra, you're there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So can I take quick 3-4 minute break, and Ashima meanwhile can talk?
Sure.
Ashima,
sure.
You there? Yeah.
Ashima, are you around?
I'm just taking 3-4 minute break, and I'll rejoin.
You need to make Ashima co-host so that she can.
Got it. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, so dear teachers, when Shivesh is taking a break, Ashima is here with us. She'll briefly tell us about some things that we do at ThinkStartup, and we rejoin again. Welcome, Shivesh. In 2-3 minutes, I think he needs a water break. So maybe just Ashima, are you there? Yeah, Ashima. We have Ashima here. So just give Ashima 2 minutes. Yeah, Ashima, go on.
Yeah, so hi everybody. Meanwhile, Shivesh is taking a break. I would just brief you about what exactly are we doing at ThinkStartup. So basically, ThinkStartup, we are trying to provide entrepreneurship education, which apparently is a very powerful tool to set students on their journey of success in today's era. And it basically prepares the students to outset on their journey to the future, and how in the 21st century challenges and India's demographic opportunity, there are only three things which are mostly focused on that, and they are the 21st century skill, they are studying abroad, and the startup aspirations. So we basically are working around all of these. And I'm sure all of you must have heard about the Amrit Kal, that India shall play a pivotal role in global innovation by Narendra Modi. So, and our pedagogy revolves around this. So our pedagogy is basically about the four pronged approaches that we try to build an ecosystem around. So, so we work around, we inspire, we teach, we enable, and we challenge. That's how the stages of our pedagogy works around. First is we inspire them, then we teach them, then we enable them, and then accordingly we challenge them. So how now comes how we inspire them. So we inspire them basically by we get them to meet the unicorn founders, the investors, and the global gurus. And so this is the kind of interaction we have it for our students. How we teach them and where we teach them is we teach them in schools, colleges, and incubation centers of various universities, like incubation centers of Delhi IIT, IIM Bangalore, IIT BHU, and IIT Mumbai. And how we are enabling them is we not only have we have various programs in schools like startups. We also, these are just the examples that I'm giving you. So we tried creating a mock parliament with national youth parliament kind of a thing, and there was discussion around it. We do teacher development programs. We have our own online entrepreneurship lab. We have our own learning management system, which you get an access to once you register for certain programs. And then we challenge them we have various ideathons, hackathons. So this is what we are. We are basically experts in leadership, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and design thinking and innovation. So all our programs which we've done and are upcoming, they all revolve around these. So there are a couple of our upcoming programs which I would like to mention here is we have the coming 3 months are like very supercharged action. So we have the Young CEO program, we have the Global Entrepreneurship Bootcamp, we have the Young CEO program, which is happening offline in Ahmedabad, cities like Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Pune, Varanasi, Delhi, and Hyderabad. So these are our upcoming programs for coming 3 months, especially when the summer breaks are going to be supercharged with these programs. And in this, basically, I think that's how our the things that differentiate us from others is we have our own proprietary content. We have our own technical platform, which I've already mentioned, and we are connected with the startup ecosystem. With all the references and everything, we are connected with our own startup ecosystem, which basically plays a very important role in building innovation and ecosystem in India. I think this is what ThinkStartup is currently focusing and doing on. And I think Shivesh here would have been done with his break.
Yeah, I'm back. Thanks.
Can I hand over? I mean, Shivesh, you could take over from here.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Ashima. And so, friends, just let me reshare my screen. I go back to where is this? Okay. I hope my screen is visible. My screen is visible, friends?
Yes.
Right, thanks. So coming back, first of all, thanks a lot to more than 200 educators have taken this test over the last, 40 hours or so, right? So we have to really process it and share your SEL score. Now, basically, while I will share the SEL score, I'm only walking you through the SEL framework, and the framework which a lot of people use is called the CASEl, the CASEL framework, right? CASEl framework. And if you look at this framework, there are circles, there are sectors. It's a nice picture which is there. But the basic SEL framework revolves around the circle in the center, right? And there are 5 parts to it. If you look at, there are five things which are around the immediate circle. The first is self-awareness. Second is self-management, social awareness, relational skills, and responsible decision-making. So when anyone talks about social and emotional learning, basically we are talking about these 5 constituents. These are the 5 components which people are talking about. Now, we really want that in our classes, the self-awareness of our students improve, right? Now, self-awareness is a big word in itself. Okay, there's a whole lot of thing which goes into this self-discovery process. Just to talk about self-awareness model, it is said that human personality is like an iceberg, and how much of the iceberg is above water? Any physics teacher, science teacher? How much of the iceberg is above water? Sorry?
Maybe some 20%.
Yeah, it's about 11%. Mathematically, 11% of iceberg is above water, and 89% is below water. So our personalities are like icebergs. Your personality, my personality, everyone's personality is like iceberg, right? Only about 10% is visible to the outer world. 90% is all below water. And what happens is, let's say I'm an iceberg. Let's say this iceberg is Shivesh, and this iceberg meets another iceberg in a real world, and that iceberg could be someone else, right? And that iceberg could be, let's say, Amitabh Bachchan, right? Now this iceberg meets this iceberg, and when they come close, something keeps on. The icebergs, they sort of below the water, these friction, collision, all those things happen. You understand what I'm saying, right? When we are with our spouses, when we are with our children, when we are with colleagues, all this thing happens below the surface. And below the surface, a lot of things happen, and that manifests everything above the surface. Whatever happens below the surface, it shoots up here and it manifests here, or it shoots up here and manifests, right? And this whole world is about self-awareness. Now, we as educators, while we are our subject matter teachers, we are also human behavior scientists, right? We are psychologists, and we really have to open the doors of self-awareness for our students, right? So that's my request to all the educators. How? We will look at some of the things, but I'm only building the logic of the CASEl framework, or the social and emotional learning framework. It all starts with self-awareness, right? We have to learn to identify our emotions. Am I feeling happy? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling frustrated? Am I feeling anxiety? All those sorts of stuff. And the sooner we teach children to recognize each of these emotions, our studies have. So I work a lot with corporate, right? And I'm a leadership coach with corporates, right? And with all these CXOs and everyone who I work with, we actually, even when they are 50 plus, we have to help them learn to identify emotions, right? Many people are really bad at it. Women are better at it, men are really bad at it. And we really have to, it's not about male or female, man or woman. It's about all of us. And we really have to teach our children about how to identify emotions. And when they display those emotions, we also have to learn to recognize those emotions and then to talk to them, or to fine tune our communication or messaging or learning lessons to adapt to that person, right? So that's about self-awareness. It's also about accurate self-perception. How much do I know about it? How much do I know my own strengths? How much self-confidence do we have? The word is self-confidence or esteem, right? And if a child who has always been given labeled as a failure, this really goes down, right? And then we expect this child to come to real world and then to be a very confident person. Not possible. These things take time to build, right? And then the other aspect of self-awareness is self-efficacy. This is about how do I work, how disciplined I am, how do I set my goals, etc., etc. What we realize is for all self-aware people, they are very good at recognizing who they are, what are they thinking, what are they feeling, and they know this link between feeling, emotions, thoughts, and actions, right? And we have to bring this knowledge into our classroom, right? So for some of you, this could be for the first time that you could be doing. For some of you, it could be for the nth time. But I have been a lifelong learner, and every time I go back learning more things about thoughts, feelings, and actions, we keep on failing, and from all these failing, we keep on learning also. So this is about self-awareness, and that tool that you used, we assessed your own self-awareness level, right? It's one of the best tools which has been developed on the whole science of SEL, and on that tool, you're going to be getting your score. Then the next facet of social and emotional learning is all about self-management. How do I manage myself better? And this deals with impulse control, right? If there's a candy in front of me, do I really want to have it right now and then and there? Or if the candy is, or if I tell myself, if I tell my children, "Ye toffee abhi nahi khani hai," and despite that, some children will eat. Now, there's a lot of interesting study, just to talk to you out of something which came to my head right now. In this whole world of finance, right, it has been found that children who know how to delay the gratification, or children who know how to control their impulses, they actually do much better there. A lot of people like you, me, etc., or your husbands and wives, they could be investing in stock market, and if they are not able to control their impulses, a lot of people actually end up losing money in money trading and all that, right? So impulse control. Okay, this whole thing about managing stress, right? Recognizing stress and managing stress. Do I know I am anxious, right? It's very important. Self-discipline, self-motivation. Can I motivate myself when there is need? Goal setting and organizational skills. So self-management. And again, we have assessed you on self-management also. Then we also assess everyone on social awareness. Now, social awareness is not you. It's how you relate with the world out there, right? It's about perspective taking. And when we say perspective taking, we really want perspective taking is all about, we want to understand how the other person in front of me is feeling. What is it that the or she is feeling, right? That's perspective taking. Now, someone who's very arrogant, right? This could be low, right? People who are arrogant, perspective taking could be very low. Or empathy. Empathy is getting into the shoes of others. How do others feel? Feel like others. If someone is feeling the pain, then I also feel the pain if I'm empathetic. If I'm not empathetic, it does not matter to me, right? It's also about appreciating diversity, right? So in this world, we will meet diverse set of people. Now, diversity in the most communist form is all about religion, caste, etc., etc. But today, if you are following what's going on in Supreme Court on this marriage thing, right, same-sex marriage and all that, world is changing, and it's all about how do we include. How prepared are our students to include others, right? And in a world today where a lot of divisive messaging is happening, inclusion is a value which goes for the longer, term success. Having respect for others. So these are the dimensions for social awareness. And then relational skills is all about how I relate with others. One part of relational skills is all about communication. How do I engage socially? Not just Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, etc., but in real life, when we meet people, are we actually warm? Do we really hug, shake hands, etc., right? So it's all about how do we engage with people in real life. It's not about Facebook. Then it's about relationship building. Now, relationship building can be multiple. It could be in the personal life, it could be in the professional life, and professionally, how good am I to form a relation with my colleague, right? And then there's a whole lot of stuff about team building. And if you recognize what I'm talking about, this is all real life. These are the mantras of success. People who are more prone to be relationship building, they become more successful. People who are more prone to working with others in a team, they are more prone to be successful. So basically, SEL links very strongly with life success. And we really want that bit of learning to happen in the classroom. Then it's all about teaching decision making, right? Responsible decision making. So about identifying problems, and some of you attended the last masterclass, which was on critical thinking, where we talked about how to identify problems, how to analyze situations, how to solve problems, evaluating, etc., etc. But the last point is very important, right? We are talking ethics, right? When the whole world really wants to shirk ethics, and the best job in society who has done about teaching ethics has been done by school teachers, educators. So that's the responsibility that we have taken as educators on ourselves, and that responsibility will never go. And the better and the more ethics and values we ingrain in our children, the better the better contribution we are making for the society. So, friends, basically, when we looked at SEL, and before we were coming for this masterclass, we really thought that should I give you a boring lecture on SEL, or should I also help you recognize how do you stand in your own SEL, right? And only when you know where you stand, then you can, as I said, all of us have time and chance to improve. So I come to the last part of my discussion. How do you think you could be using SEL inside your classroom? Anyone who wants to speak can raise your hand. And I'm really looking at some nice examples, real life examples that you might want to share. If even in a minor way, if you are including SEL in your classroom, I'll be very glad to hear those things out. Anyone who wants to speak? How are you using social and emotional learning in the classroom? Yeah, Sudha ma'am, you can unmute yourself.
I teach Hindi. So in 8th
Yes.
standard, there was a lesson, Premchand lesson about a girl who was, those times when they didn't have rights and all that. So children were able to relate and understand. She gets married and then she loses her husband. So when she was born, there was no mithai given. And when her brother was born, he was, whole village, the father gave mithai.
Yes,
So
yes.
that we had a discussion in class and we had kind of a debate about importance. And so girls and boys actually spoke about freedom at home, their own homes, like whether there is a difference seen even at their home. Like, does your mother tell your brother also to take the plate from the table? So all those discussions, and then they really thought about it. So I think that was
and it still happens in my home, for example. What Sudha ma'am, you're saying, this discrimination, right? So I have a let's say a maid servant. She likes to give me better things in comparison to my wife, right? And that's a social structure in which we are living, despite me as a very aware, conscious person trying to say no, 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 all that. Right, but it's important to recognize
and what I liked about the students' discussion was that they were not taking it personally. They took it like a social issue, like, oh, it's happening in my house, so I am bad. They did not think. They only thought about how to probably bring about the change. So it was not taken personally that why are you asking about my class? So when my home. So that was I think.
Shalini ma'am, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, before going for SCL in classroom, I do one thing. First, I do the SWOT analysis with my children so that they will come to know about their strength, weakness, and fear and everything. And then accordingly, they can work on those lines. So that way, they will be able to improve upon their emotions and their skills, emotional skills. And I think SWOT analysis is very important for everybody.
So you have hit the nail on the head, Shalini ma'am. So what Shalini ma'am is saying, that if I do a SWOT analysis, if we make students do a SWOT analysis on who am I, what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses? Weaknesses means nothing. These are the areas of improvement. Then we are only increasing the awareness level, right? And that becomes a building block for everyone to then heighten the awareness and a journey, right? So thank you for that. Anyone else who wants to add, or let me move forward? Now, there is a lot of, in paucity of time, I'm already at 5:30, we'll take 5 more minutes. There's already a lot of research on something called pro-social classroom model. Can you note down this term if you are interested? And you can do more research. Around pro-social. But before you leave, I have some interesting bits to share. So I'll take another 2 minutes to share something very interesting. I'm going to give you a SEL psychometric tool for your students. Right? It is customized and made for students. So I hope all of you are on WhatsApp group, and on WhatsApp group after the session, I'm going to share that psychometric assessment tool for your students. And to all the teachers who will do 50 students, we will do a free session on how to counsel students using that tool. So using that result, how do you counsel it? Right. So I'm going to be putting more communication around that tool, and I'll share the link. It will have, the students can take the test and put your name. And then once you reach a critical mass, and in about 10 days, we can do a counseling a session on how to use SCL as a child development tool. It's a paid program, but with everyone at 50 students, we will make it free. So a few more things before I proceed forward. I have basically, in paucity of time, I'm talking about 2 or 3 quick strategies, right? There's something called 2 by 10 strategy, right? 2 by 10 strategy is a simple strategy, which I want to talk about. Now, basically, you have to spend 2 minutes per day for 10 consecutive days with student and engage with them in a positive conversation. Now, this is for students who, who could be a difficult learner, right? So we need to spend 2 minutes, 10 days continuously, no gaps in between. And okay, let me, friends, I'm putting everyone on mute for a while, just for a while. Okay, yeah. So this strategy has been very effective. You have to maintain positive tone. Do not talk about academics. Do not talk about आपका result अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है, all those sort of stuff. Basically, you have to talk about the area of interest. If the student is interested in football, talk about it. If the student is interested in dance, talk about it. Whatever their interests are, right? And then you will find that the world changes. The attention of that student in the classroom starts changing. And what happens is that because of this investment of 20 minutes only, what you have done is we have done winning of hearts and mind. It's all about the journey of mind to heart. We are getting into the heart of our student. And only when we get into the heart of the student, then the overall learning experience for the student changes, right? So this is 2 by 10 strategy. The other is a 90-second rule. Now, 90-second rule is, if I'm disturbed, if I'm hurt, if I'm, something has made me negative, right? If something has made me really negative, we basically have to get that thought out for 90 seconds. So teach students to get that piece of thought out of your mind for 90 seconds, and then the mind changes. This is magic. I'm a big practitioner, and very often we realize, and when we don't practice this, I also realize how we get into this negative spiral of discussing the thing. This happened, and then this happened, and this happened. So this is all about how do you get out of a difficult situation. You have to shut the door, right? Then there are many other strategies. There are a few other strategies. You can have a mind. You can practice mindfulness. So a mindful minute. Focus on yourself. Breathing techniques. Name the emotion you bring to the class. So labeling of emotions. And there are about 20 emotions, right? If you help students label those 20 emotions, it really enhances the awareness, right? Show them the visual of those emotions, and then ask people to label. Batao ye kya hai? What is this? What is this? Tell me what is this, right? And then you will realize that how often people go wrong, right? And I'm not talking of cryptic emotion, even the simple emotions. Right? And sometimes our emotions can be giving 2 signals. I'm not talking of those. Even simple emotions, we have to train our kids into identifying the emotions, right? Not only kids. If you want, in the WhatsApp group, next 10 days, I will give you a face identification quiz. And let's see what happens between teachers. I'm sure, and I'm not going to give the right or the wrong answer. I'll give the right answer only at the end of the day. Daily morning, I'll put one emotional face, and your job is to tell me what emotion is that, right? And then let's all learn from in the WhatsApp group together. Okay. Then there's a whole body of work of Carol Dweck on growth mindset. You can practice simple things like quote of the day, favorite cartoon, motivational quotes, etc., etc., etc. So, friends, with this, I stop. Just allow me a second. If you have any question, I am unmuting. All. If you have, you can unmute yourself, and ask your question. Anyone?
So, excuse me.
Yes.
So it's a good session, very good session for that matter.